Hello and welcome to Health360, your one-stop destination for all things health, wellness and fitness. On the show this week, we will tell you all about phone use in the toilet and your risk of developing hemorrhoids. Also on the show, the link between dementia and hearing loss and why hearing loss in seniors needs urgent attention. GLP-1 weight loss drugs are now in the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. What does it even mean for you and me? That and much more up ahead on the show. I'm Sneha Mordani. You're watching Health360. Now, most of us take our phones everywhere, including the bathroom. What really starts as a quick scroll while you do your business often turns into 10, maybe 15 minutes hunched over TikTok, texting or reading the news. Sounds harmless, doesn't it? Well, not exactly. Turns out that this innocent habit could be putting more than just your screen time at risk. It might be increasing your chances of developing hemorrhoids. Here's more. We've all been there, sitting on the toilet, scrolling through social media or catching up on the news. It feels like a harmless way to pass the time, right? A recent research suggests that this common habit might be more harmful than we think. A study published in PLOS 1 has found that adults who use smartphones while sitting on the toilet have actually a 46% higher risk of developing hemorrhoids compared to those who don't. The research conducted at Beth Israel Diaconus Medical Center surveyed 125 adults undergoing colonoscopies and compared their bathroom habits. Of the participants, 66% admitted to using their phones on the toilet. Those who did were more likely to spend extended periods in sitting, often exceeding 5 minutes per visit. This prolonged sitting increases pressure on the anal veins, contributing to the development of hemorrhoids. Interestingly, the study revealed that the increased risk wasn't due to factors like constipation or straining, but was primarily associated with the extended time spent on the toilet. Smartphone users were 5 times more likely to sit for more than 5 minutes compared to non-users. Now, in spite of similar levels of constipation and straining between both groups, the key differentiator was the duration of toilet time.
There is a strong, nerve-gut axis. Your intestine should get the signal from the brain, what we call it as a brain-gut axis. If somebody is concentrating on the mobile, that your attention is like, you will not get the brain signal will not reach your intestine.
Okay.
So like this, with the proper time when the stool is supposed to come out, that time the sphincter doesn't get relaxed. And your attention is not just once you pass little stools that you can concentrate on the mobile. No, like your intestinal evacuation, that's a bubble movement, is a very, very complicated process. It is not that simple. So you have to, that your concentration on your bubble movement should be continuous. So that the double is like the signal should come from the brain continuously, so that the bubble, intestine is able to expel completely. That should. So I advise that nobody, when you go to the toilet, you cannot carry anything in your mobile. Some people have got a habit of carrying your newspapers. So nothing in your hand when you go and sit on the toilet seat. Okay. And the other thing is, like, even long hours of sitting, that itself, that even gravity like causes this blood vessels get to swollen. So you should not, you should not even sit for a longer time, not just on your toilet seat, even in workplace. The present work conditions, like, IT, especially the IT professionals, they sit for hours together in one place
Right.
without even moving. Even that causes like hemorrhoids. So what they should do is they should make it a point to get up from their seat every 1 hour, if not much, like, at least walk for maybe 2 to 5 minutes, then come back and say.
The immersive nature of smartphone content, such as videos and social media, can make time slip by unnoticed, leading to longer sitting durations. This behavior not only increases the risk of hemorrhoids but also reflects broader lifestyle patterns, including reduced physical activity. While it might seem like a small indulgence, using your phone in the toilet can have significant health implications. Your phone is a germ magnet. Studies show it can carry up to 17,000 bacterial gene copies, making it dirtier than a toilet seat. That means every time you take your phone into the bathroom, you're putting it in contact with germs that could make you sick, and then those germs follow you back into the rest of your home. PCOS is one of those things a lot of women deal with, but not many talk about it. While it is confusing, frustrating, and often brushed off as just hormones. So when someone in the public eye decides to speak up about it, it really does matter. Recently, Sara Tendulkar, the daughter of cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar, opened up about her own struggles with PCOS, and her honesty is striking a chord with women everywhere. Polycystic ovary syndrome is a hormonal condition affecting many young women, yet it often remains hidden in conversation. What really explains this increase in cases of PCOS in the last few years?
Basically, we have seen a vast jump in the amount of cases we are seeing in PCOS, especially in the adolescent population. And now the age group is going from 10 years up to 24 years, which has shown a jump in the incidence as well as the prevalence. Now, the major causes can be grouped into dietary changes that have come up, plus the lifestyle that we have of our kids, the stress, the sleep, all that has contributed, and along with that the environmental toxins, the plastics, the bisphenols, they all contribute to having PCOS, and having an unhealthy lifestyle kind of aggravates the condition. So when we talk about PCOS, basically it's a polycystic ovarian syndrome, which not only affects our ovaries or our fertility, but also affects our menstrual cycles. They have menstrual irregularities, they have sudden weight gain. They're not even eating that much and they have sudden weight gain. Now, this is because the hormones are changing. The hormone and milieu is changing in the body. So what happens? The hunger hormones that are present in our gut, they increase. And there are hunger suppressive hormones like the GLP-1, which we are hearing so much about. So the hunger suppressive hormones are reduced in them.
I want to ask you, doctor, that this has also got a lot to do with insulin resistance that we are seeing, in a larger section of the younger population as well among women, and also particularly unhealthy lifestyles that we all seem to have given into, isn't it?
Yes. And sleep, we kind of underrate the amount of, the impact sleep has in our health overall. Going from the brain to the rest of our body, it has impact on every organ of our body. And if it is uninterrupted sleep, if it is sleep before 11 p.m., these all will increase the melatonin and it will help in our overall endocrine as well as the bodily functions. So we have to make sure we have uninterrupted sleep. We try to sleep before 11 p.m. and we try to avoid getting up and having these interrupted sleep patterns.
That's right. Dr. Ankita, talk to us about how this can really be prevented, because we do know that, eventually girls would be developing this problem. So is there any way that an early lifestyle, early interventions that younger women can prevent it?
That's a very interesting question, because the research coming up is showing that PCOS sets in at an age wherein we're not even looking for PCOS. At the age of 9 years, 10 years, that's when PCOS really sets in. And it goes ignored because most of the signs and symptoms of PCOS match the physiological changes that are taking place in the body. So menstrual cycles are irregular at the beginning of the cycles. Like when the
Yes.
girl attains her menarche around 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. So menstrual cycles have not become regular. For the first 1 or 2 years, they stay irregular. So
Right.
this is a physiological change and it does not alarm us yet that there is a problem. So the important
Exactly.
thing now is to start looking into it at an earlier age. By 10 years, 11 years, we start looking out and watching out for symptoms, sudden weight gain, especially around the abdominal area, mood swings, and changes in these menstrual patterns need to be picked up at that point. If we engage our girls and adolescents at that age in the physical activity, which is around 30 to 40 minutes per day, at least 3 times a week, just that
Okay.
much will actually expedite our management and help in preventing PCOS to a large extent.
Experts say this can be prevented. In India, PCOS impacts roughly 6 to 11% of women, with some regions seeing rates as high as 18%. Globally, prevalence hovers around 9%, though it varies by diagnostic standard. 124.7 million women worldwide live with PCOS-related infertility as of 2021. Notice how PCOS is shedding its silence. That's why stories from public figures like Sara Tendulkar matter. Known as an advocate for fitness and self-care, she shared her personal journey, including dealing with hormonal acne. Her openness helps normalize conversations about PCOS and encourages countless young women in India to pay attention to their health early. Ever felt that burning sensation in your chest after a big meal or late night snack? Well, you're not alone. The classic heartburn is a sign of gastroesophageal reflux disease. And while it might just seem like a common annoyance, there's actually more to it than meets the eye. Here's the thing. If you're dealing with acid reflux regularly and brushing it off as mere something which happens or normal, it might be time to pay closer attention to this. Chronic acid reflux doesn't just disrupt your comfort. It can actually increase your risk of developing something much more serious, esophageal cancer. We all experience heartburn occasionally, a burning sensation in the chest after a spicy meal or a rich dessert. But when heartburn becomes persistent, occurring more than twice a week, it could be a sign of something more serious, such as gastroesophageal reflux disease, which affects a significant portion of the population. So how common really is heartburn? In India, for example, studies indicate that the prevalence of acid reflux or heartburn ranges from 7.6% to 30%, with urban populations experiencing higher rates due to lifestyle factors. Globally, the prevalence is approximately at 13.98%, translating to an estimated 1.03 billion individuals affected worldwide. When occasional heartburn is common, persistent heartburn can lead to complications. How can persistent heartburn lead to Barrett's esophagus and stomach cancer? What's the link really?
Yeah, what actually happens is that the persistent acid exposure, the acid is not supposed to come beyond the Z line from the stomach into the esophagus. But if there is a persistent contact, then the mucosa changes. The inner lining, it changes from the normal mucosa to dysplasia and then to metaplasia, which means that there is a gradual change in the epithelium that causes the cancerous cells to start forming.
So that essentially is what leads to cancer, because this is a niggling problem, and if it's not addressed, that could lead to maybe a precancerous stage.
We call it a Barrett's esophagus, right? So Barrett's esophagus is definitely a precancerous condition, but not all Barrett's esophagus necessarily lead to cancer. So what is important is the routine surveillance here.
So how common is cancer because of acid reflux?
Per se, the incidence is less, I'd say. There are many other causes like smoking, other kind of addictions, spices, and alcohol. They are also major reasons. But I'd say 0.5% would be the incidence where Barrett's esophagus actually leads to cancer esophagus. But we should be more careful.
When does one really think that, this is becoming way too frequent, this acid reflux? And when does one then decide that it's time now to consult the doctor?
Yeah, the typical symptoms are heartburn. That is, you feel a sensation of burning sensation in the lower part of your chest or upper abdomen. And reflux. Reflux is when the acid actually comes out through your food pipe into your mouth. So these are
Right.
two very common symptoms. And apart from that, there are some less common symptoms, which we call atypical symptoms. They are persistent laryngitis. You have a cough there, constant feeling of an acidity in your mouth in the morning, particularly in the early morning, and pain while you are swallowing. Yeah, what happens is normally people tend to take some over-the-counter medications like pantoprazole, which your normal physician, your family physician, or the chemist subscribes to you. But even if you are taking them, and in spite of those medications, in spite of antacids, when you are having this thing persistent problem for more than 6 weeks,
Okay.
or if there are no factors that are confounding this thing, like you are eating a pretty normal diet, but in spite of medications, they are not getting better. Yeah, that's the time when you are supposed to consult your surgeon or your gastroenterologist.
Will ever notice someone constantly asking, "What did you say?" or turning the TV volume way up? It might seem like just a sign of getting older, but recent research is showing there could be more to it. Hearing loss isn't just about the years, it's now being linked to something much deeper, to dementia. Scientists are finding that untreated hearing loss could significantly increase the risk of cognitive decline over time. And it makes sense when you think about it. When your brain is working overtime just to hear and process these words, there's less energy left for memory, for focus and thinking clearly. It's a connection that is often overlooked, really, but it is incredibly important. We often think of hearing loss as a normal part of getting older, something to live with, something to laugh off. But doctors now say ignoring those missed words and say that again moments could actually be linked to something much bigger, to dementia. Dementia isn't just about forgetting names or misplacing keys. It's a serious condition where memory, thinking, and daily life slowly slip away. And here's the surprising part: hearing loss is one of the biggest preventable risk factors for it. How are the two connected? Think about it this way. Talk to us about how both of these are really connected. Neha.
Yeah, thanks, Neha. So there has been a lot of research, you're right, but now it's a very well established fact that hearing loss is indeed connected to dementia. And it's one of the modifiable risk factors, which basically means that you can, once you identify that there is hearing loss setting in, you can actually either delay the onset of dementia or, kind of prevent the decline, the speed of decline of dementia. So I see it in three parts. When the brain sort of struggles to, decode sounds, there is sort of a stress on our existing brain systems. So there is a constant overload which sort of in a way accelerates our decline. So what happens is, as a result of that, there is a biological overload. There's a structural and biological overload on our temporal lobe, which is sort of responsible for our it's a key area of brain which is responsible for hearing, and that leads to faster shrinkage.
You know, I have a question to you because I've seen this in my circles as well in the elderly population, is that there's a lot of, reluctance to accept that there is a hearing problem, and then wearing, hearing aids, and senior citizens just don't want to wear hearing aids. What would be your word of caution, both for senior citizens and their loved ones, the family members who are, taking care of them? Neha.
Absolutely. I think so. India, I think I wouldn't say India, but everywhere stigma and denial is strong, and many elders or many people feel that wearing a hearing aid is a admission that you're aging in a way, right? So this resistance is unfortunate, but I would say very simply that hearing loss is not just about ears. Think of it like this: it's about the brain. So if you're treating it early, you are actually not just preserving one of your sensory organs, you're preserving memory, you're preserving dignity, you're also preserving your quality of life for very long. So it's very critical.
Absolutely. Well, so the next time you or your loved one struggles to follow a conversation, don't shrug it off. It's not just about the ears, it's about keeping the brain healthy as well. Why does this really matter? 63 million Indians with hearing loss, often silent and overlooked. 8.8 to 10 plus million older individuals living with dementia right now. Cases are expected to rise dramatically. Up to 1/3 of dementia cases tied to hearing loss. Early action clearly would make a difference. The World Health Organization has added weight loss drugs to essential medicines list. What does it mean for the world and for India here? Well, the WHO has taken a big step by adding certain weight loss medications to its essential medicines list, or EML. This move goes beyond just medical science. It actually reflects a change in how the world views obesity and its related health risks. For many years, obesity was seen mainly as a lifestyle problem, something linked to diet and exercise. But now, WHO is officially treating it as a serious medical condition that requires proper medicines, just like diabetes or heart disease. What are essential medicines then? Well, essential medicines are those drugs that WHO recommends every country should make available to its people. They are considered the most effective and necessary for public health, and governments are encouraged to stock them in public hospitals, include them in national health schemes, and work to keep them affordable. By adding weight loss drugs to this list, WHO is saying that treating obesity is no longer optional. It is a global health priority. Why this matters globally then? Obesity is a major risk factor for many serious illnesses such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, and some cancers. Millions of people worldwide are struggling with these conditions, and medicines that can help with weight loss may reduce these risks very significantly. By being on the essential medicines list, these drugs could soon become more widely available through public health systems instead of being limited to expensive private prescriptions, which is the case right now. Insurance companies may also be pushed to cover these costs, making treatments more accessible for ordinary families. World Health Organization's decision could also encourage global negotiations for lower prices. When medicines are recognized as essential, pharmaceutical companies often face pressure to reduce costs so that countries can buy them in bulk for the public. The rise of GLP-1 medicines. The weight loss medicines that have caught global attention belong to a group called GLP-1 receptor agonists. These include drugs like liraglutide and semaglutide, originally developed to treat type 2 diabetes but later found to be highly effective for weight loss. In recent years, these medicines have become hugely popular in Western countries and now even in India and other countries in Asia. Semaglutide, sold under brand names like Ozempic and Wegovy, has become almost a household name thanks to social media trends, celebrity endorsements, and reports of dramatic weight loss. Demand has been so high in countries like the US and the UK that there have been shortages of supply. Their popularity comes from the fact that they not only help people lose weight, but also improve blood sugar control, reduce the risk of heart disease, and may have other long-term health benefits. However, they remain very expensive and are currently out of reach for most people in low and middle-income countries. Well, by adding GLP-1 medicines to the essential medicines list, WHO is signaling that these drugs should no longer be luxury items for the wealthy, but treatments that need to be made affordable and accessible worldwide. What does this really mean for India? Well, the India story is especially important here. According to the National Family Health Survey, more than 24% of Indian men and 24% of Indian women are overweight or obese, and the numbers are rising sharply in urban areas. This increase is leading to higher cases of diabetes, heart disease, and hypertension at younger ages as well. Right now, most GLP-1 medications available in India are very costly and limited to private hospitals or clinics. Only wealthy patients are usually seen using them. Now, by adding this to essential medicines list, there's a chance that the government may consider including them in public healthcare schemes like Ayushman Bharat or state-level programs. But if that happens, these medicines could reach millions more people, especially in middle and low-income families. At the same time, India faces unique challenges. Public hospitals are already actually struggling with shortages of essential medicines for cancer, for tuberculosis and other diseases. Adding costly weight loss drugs to the system will require budget adjustments and strong negotiations with pharmaceutical companies. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Health 360. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did putting it together for you. Find these reports and much more up on our website, that's indiatoday.in. You can in fact download the app. All of India Today's social media platforms carry these reports. It's Instagram, Twitter, which is X, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Take very good care of yourself. Bye for now.